Justin Trudeau's Liberal government is giving the go-ahead to an $11.4 billion Pacific NorthWest LNG project. Now it's up to Malaysia's Petronas and its partners to decide if they can handle Ottawa's 190 conditions and current market conditions. Jameson Burko has all the details. He joins us right now. Jameson, good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Of course, this is something of an expectation since they just had 5 days to go before that legislative deadline when they really had to make a decision one way or another. So a few points that our viewers should keep in mind when they see what is, broadly speaking, positive for anyone who wants to see more development as far as Canada's natural gas sector is concerned. What you need to keep in mind is that these 190 conditions, some of them may prove economically onerous in terms of how much money and time the company, not just Petronas, remember JAPEX, Sinopec, Indian Oil, and Petroleum Brunei all have stakes in what is really just a consortium of players called the Pacific NorthWest LNG project. Some of them very expensive, particularly having to comply with roughly a 20% reduction to greenhouse gas emissions that were expected to be attributed to the project. This cap that the federal government is going to impose on the project, should it go forward, will make it difficult for them to actually build the thing in the first place, since effectively, without having to either come up with some sort of advanced technological solution or carbon capture and storage, something like that, they'll have to just make the project smaller, effectively. And that will really create all sorts of challenges related to the economics, whether they can still have enough scale to justify the investment. And also something that is a very important clarifying point to make, $36 billion is the figure that many media outlets have gone with. It's no surprise considering that it can be found in many press releases related to the project. But remember, that is not the figure, not even close. It's actually...
Why not?
$11.4 billion, Paul, is how much the facility is going to cost. Do you know what's included in that $36 billion total? They're including the $5 billion they spent to buy Progress Energy Canada back in 2012. That money, obviously, already spent. They're including $6.7 billion for pipelines that will bring natural gas from northeastern British Columbia to the facility just outside of Prince Rupert, BC. TransCanada.
Who spends that? TransCanada?
TransCanada is spending that money. Of course, you could argue that Petronas is going to be giving TransCanada fees, and, you know, TransCanada will, of course, make the money back on their investment, but still, it's not as if Petronas is ponying up $36 billion, not even close. It also includes about 12 years worth of natural gas drilling that would have to happen to feed the facility over that time.
Greg Taylor, let's bring you in.
How far do you think we really are through this? Because this has been going on forever, and we really haven't heard much from the natives yet, and they always seem to be a few weeks behind with some approvals and class action lawsuits. I think it's good news, but we also have to remember that the world's really changed since Petronas bought Progress. AECO was at a lot higher prices, and we'll see if this is even economical right now. So
AECO, natural gas?
AECO, right.
Yeah, and Canadian natural gas.
And the prices dropped a lot. So it's rebounded a lot this year, but it's down a lot from where it was when Progress was taken over. So we'll see if this is economic at all, and now Petronas has to decide if they really want to spend this money and go forward with it.
How much doubt do you think there is surrounding a commercial go-ahead here by the companies?
I think it sounds good. It's probably 50-50 in my mind, though they've spent a lot of money to get in. It's whether they want to keep going. I still think Canada really needs an oil pipeline out west more than a natural gas pipeline. So this is a good step to get some capital projects underway, and this is really what we need with fiscal stimulus. So we'll see if this is the right step.
Greg, to your point, though, about the economics of the project, it really is quite a different world. Not only has the price been very different, of course, the key really is the spread between North American gas prices and Asian gas prices, because Asian gas prices being higher, that is where you make most of your margin in a project like this. But that spread has collapsed over the last couple of years. It's barely half what it was in 2014, and that's why folks like yourself, Greg, as well as I found one analyst opinion already, First Energy Capital's Ian Gillies, pointing out that Petronas is going to have to perform a new cost review. It could take up to 6 months, so it could be some time before we actually get what might be a final investment decision, and even once that happens, there's no guarantees, as Mr. Gillies points out, a final investment decision by Petronas and its partners still far from certain.
Thanks for bringing us that story. Jameson Burko on BNN's Top Line Story, the approval of the Petronas project with conditions, many of them, by the federal government.